What's up YouTube, I'm Mike, and today I'm going to try to shoot and actually upload a MENT update. I have been going through it with YouTube. I don't know what's going on with my channel. I talked to tech support today. They said my channel is in good standing and no one has been report bombing it or anything. But I've got videos that I created yesterday that are just waiting. Most of my videos are having to be manually approved. The algorithm is demonetizing them, and then I'm having to wait for someone to actually view the content and verify that I didn't break any rules so that I can even post it. So I've got part 6 of my homeless series waiting to be uploaded. I don't know if I'm going to have to try to find another platform. I don't know what's going on. They said that there's nothing wrong with the channel. They're just blaming their algorithm. So before I get into this, for protection's sake, let me disclaim this video in saying that this is not medical advice. Everything that I'm talking about today is my own personal user experience. I'm not glorifying or endorsing the use of any performance-enhancing drugs. Don't break the law. Don't do anything stupid. This is informational and educational information only. So today is technically day 3 of my real MENT cycle. You could maybe say it was day 5 because of the fact that I misdosed in the beginning. I was in my head, I was thinking I had 100 milligram per milliliter solution. I actually had 50 milligram per milliliter solution, and so the doses were effectively half. So if you want to consider 5 milligrams a day of MENT a reasonable starter dose, then we are basically at the 1 week mark, give or take. We're about 5 days in to a minimum of 5 milligrams of MENT per day. I am having a lot of positives and a whole host of negatives, which is what I'm going to describe to you today. Admittedly, the vast majority, if maybe possibly all of the negatives, are effectively my fault because before I started this compound, I watched some various other YouTubers talking about it, and the number one consensus in the community seemed to be that MENT, also known as Trestolone, is effectively gyno in a bottle, and I am very, very gyno prone. So when I started what I thought was 5 milligrams of MENT, I immediately increased my 8x dose. Unfortunately, I was only taking 2.5 milligrams of MENT, and so my E2 started to go into the toilet. I did not notice this immediately, and I unfortunately made it worse by then lowering my existing testosterone dose. So I had been at 500 milligrams of Test-C, and when I noticed that at a given dose of MENT, I was not getting, my gyno wasn't like, I decided that I wanted to use more MENT, and I didn't want to have gyno problems, so I lowered my Test-C from 500 milligrams a week to 300 milligrams a week, which in the absence of an actual therapeutic amount of MENT, I was still beyond therapeutic amount, but in the absence of enough MENT to aromatize and make up for the losses, given the fact that I was taking upwards of 4 milligrams of Arimidex, given that during that time period, my E2 started to crash. I noticed this several days ago when I began to become totally disinterested in sex with my wife. I started having some ED issues. There was a number of problems that started to occur, and I started to recognize, like, oh, this looks like a low E2 situation. It was about that time so that I figured out what my mistake was, that I had been actually massively underdosing the MENT. So 3 days ago, I stopped taking Arimidex completely. Normally speaking, if I was to miss one Arimidex dose, I would notice it. My nipples would be puffy and sensitive within 24 to 36 hours at a maximum after a missed Arimidex dose. If I were to miss 2 doses of Arimidex, I would definitively be seeing substantial side effects. I am now going on to day 4 of no Arimidex and have 0 symptoms of high estrogen. In fact, I'm not even sure my estrogen is back to normal yet. I had another very busted sexual experience with my wife last night. I feel very disconnected from her, and I'm feeling all of the classic hallmarks of a low estrogen environment. So, given the fact that I don't want to stay in this state, and given the fact that I want to get the maximum amount of gains out of the situation, there's only so many things you can do. One thing you can do is to stop taking Arimidex, which I've done. 3 days without Arimidex has not been sufficient to raise my estrogen to a physiological amount that I can feel. So this morning I chose to up my MENT dose from 10 milligrams per day to 15 milligrams per day. I am definitively feeling the new MENT doses. What is profoundly different is that on those really low doses, I was making all of those videos where I was super happy, pumped up, on top of the world, manic. Like, it was, the drug seemed to be acting like some kind of an antidepressant. I don't know what was causing that. That is gone. Okay, now admittedly, we do have a lot of variables in the system. My estrogen is definitively not in the sweet spot. When I decided to start pinning the MENT every day, I also decided to increase my tren dose from 80 to 100 milligrams a week, because I really wasn't feeling the tren anymore. I even made some videos talking about the fact that I was beginning to become convinced that the Trestolone was outcompeting the Trenbolone for the receptor. So I have a very muddy water situation because I started pinning Trenbolone daily alongside my Trestolone, which I've never done. So normally I pin Tren E twice a week, and so starting a few days ago, I began pinning 7 milligrams of Tren E per day. Let me see if that's, no, I think it's 14 milligrams of Tren E per day. For the first 2 days, I pinned that alongside 10 milligrams of MENT. And then today, I went to 15 milligrams of MENT. I am definitively feeling a very profound level of intensity. It is decidedly more similar to Trenbolone. I am unfortunately having a host of negative side effects. The negative side effects are I'm losing weight. The MENT, the Tren, the E2, something, I think it's the MENT, because that's when I started the MENT, I suddenly could not feel the MK677 anymore. I'm taking 25 milligrams of MK677 every single day, and I am never feeling ravenous. I am occasionally feeling hungry. My calorie intake is hanging out around 3,800 calories a day. And I seem to be in a deficit because I continue to lose body fat around my midsection, and my upper body continues to become more and more just massively shrink wrapped. The good news is that I think the combination of drugs that I'm on right now is making my upper body look freakish. My wife every time I tell my wife it seems like my weight is down, she's just like, where? You look massive, like your shoulders are massive, your pecs are massive, you've got deep cuts, veins, my forearms are just are covered in veins. I'm very dry and I'm very, very full, and so it's possible that the weight that I lost is just water weight due to having crashed or nearly crashed my estrogen. If that's the case, then I should get it back relatively quickly when I get back to a physiological amount of estrogen. The thing that is actually starting to scare me a little bit is that I don't know what's taking so long to get back to a physiological amount of estrogen. So, to put this into perspective, right now, compound-wise, we have 300 milligrams of Test C per week, 200 milligrams of Nandrolone decanoate per week, 100 milligrams of Trenbolone E per week, 500 milligrams of Masteron E per week, and we have now up to 15 milligrams of Trestolone /MENT per day. I do not know. So far, this has not been gyno in a bottle for me. There was some anecdotal information that I think Kvalser shared that said something about MENT having the capacity to agonize the prolactin receptor, I think, which was actually down-regulating the estrogen receptor. I don't know. Supposedly, the estrogen that aromatizes from MENT is 7-alpha methyl estradiol, which is supposed to be about 40 times as strong as normal estradiol. So far, that is not happening in my body. So I don't know if the weight loss is due to lack of calories. I don't know if it is me shedding water weight from being having low E2. I don't know. I'm definitely not losing it. I think you can see in this camera in my musculature. My muscles are looking very, very good to me. If it was not for how good I'm looking in the mirror at the end of my workouts, I would be in full-blown panic mode. Secondarily to this, my strength was up considerably in the gym yesterday. So yesterday represented day 2 on 10 milligrams of MENT, with 2 prior days at 5 milligrams per MENT, and I had the most profound amount of strength that I've had probably since my last large tren blast, maybe upwards near 500 milligrams of tren. I set 1 PR during my lift, but what was so remarkably different is that typically your strength wanes over the course of your lift. So let's say, I'm just going to throw some numbers out hypothetically speaking. Let's say if I start with incline press, then I would usually go up to 255 is about the most that I lift on incline. If I start with incline press, I'll usually get up to 255 for about 4 reps after having pyramided up. So I would start with 135. I would start with a plate, then a plate and a quarter, then 2 plates, then 2 plates and a quarter. That's where I would go. If I was starting with flat bench, the weights would be relatively the same, although I typically get a little bit higher on my flat bench. So I would start a little higher and I would end up probably around 275-ish on my flat bench versus about 255 on my incline bench. What's happening now is I can hit my 255 incline bench and then turn right around and be able to have basically starter strength on my incline. So yesterday I did arms, and usually if I do dumbbells first, then I go up to the 60s. And then if I do, like, say, preacher curls, I will end up doing having less strength on the preacher curl machine because it's the second workout of the day. What I experienced yesterday in the gym was that I had starter strength on every single lift throughout the entire lift day. My strength never ever flagged relative to the number of total sets and reps that I had done on that day. And that is very, very typical of the beginning of roid-induced strength. So in my experience, this is what happens first. You have a day in the gym where your strength just seems to be up across the fucking board. And then as it continues to actually work in your body is when you start all of a sudden, like the next day or a week later, rather than having this strength that is up across the board, now it's like PR, PR, PR. And you set multiple PRs on multiple lifts throughout an entire exercise. I have not had this experience in a very, very long time. That, coupled with the way that I'm looking, with the way that my body is looking, is the only thing that is keeping me mentally in this right now, because I'm being very discouraged by what I'm seeing on the scale. I want to say I'm recomping, is what it seems to be. It seems like my upper body and my legs are growing and my midsection is leaning out. But I have a hard time believing that based on the way I feel at the dinner table, I think I'm just not getting enough calories. The second very interesting thing to report is, again, the way my body just absolutely behaves different than a lot of people. Many people have called MK677 diabetes in a bottle. To give you an example of how insulin sensitive I am right now, last night before adult behavior, I ate 4 or 5 homemade chocolate chip cookies. I drank about a half of a can of Dr. Pepper, and during foreplay, I was eating Starburst while we were watching some content. We attempted to go into the act, and I had tremendous ED problems, just come and go. So the act was very short-lived relative to what we would typically experience. It all worked out in the end, but it was very psychologically not rewarding for me. There's nothing more emasculating than when you can't maintain your functionality. It's just coming and going, and you're floppy, and it was just mentally it's just another really bad experience. So I get out of bed and I go immediately and I check my blood sugar. And so we're talking about maybe 5 minutes of actual physical exertion. Maybe, I'm guessing 5 minutes. I mean, let's go crazy and say it was 7 minutes. It wasn't, okay? We're talking about a short period of time here. Very dysfunctional. So I had been actively ingesting chocolate chip cookies, Dr. Peppers, and Starburst. 5, call it maybe 10 minutes of physical activity. I check my blood sugar, and my blood sugar is 86. 86. How is that even possible? How can I be on 25 milligrams of diabetes in a bottle and eat all of that junk food and have an 86 blood sugar? I mean, I don't know what's going on. This morning I woke up, I had a honey bun, a Monster, and some Dr. Pepper, and I checked my blood sugar about 45 minutes after ingesting all of that, and it was 156. So it does go up. It's just that any physical exertion at all will crash it right back down. So I seem to be remaining very insulin sensitive despite being on a large amount of MK677. I'm not experiencing the MK677 appetite, so I'm struggling to get my calories down, which makes me suspect that I'm probably in a deficit because my weight is either static or down. I had gotten up to 212 pounds a couple of nights ago, and last night I was struggling to get to 210. I probably did get to 210, but I was pounding a lot of fluids to fucking get there. So my body weight is not trending up. My estrogen is staying low despite being on a compound that has been referred to as gyno in a bottle. My insulin sensitivity seems to be remaining very high despite being on a compound that is often called diabetes in a bottle. And all in all, I don't seem to be growing, at least not on the scale. I feel great. I have massive strength. I have a lot of intensity. But as for my mental demeanor, that happy, like almost SSRI kind of elevated mood that I had been experiencing previously has been replaced by the most cold, calculating, sinister attitude that I think I've ever felt. Again, it's kind of like Tren, although Tren is prone to making me have these crazy meltdowns where the veins are bulging out of my neck. And this is very different than like the rage-inducing feeling. This is just like freakishly calm. All of the anger, all of the intensity, all of the capacity to actually do something is just sitting there under the surface. But instead of feeling totally out of control, like I could just completely lose it and go into a Tren rant at any given moment, I feel like Bundy or something. Like I feel very, very sinister and cold and calculating. Yesterday for Father's Day, my daughter had been planning like this thing for week. She likes to make decorations and I think I've showed you that she makes me these like little flower pots, and she's always doing these little crafts projects. She gets really excited about holidays. She's always wanting to do something nice for somebody, and I hate holidays, and so I'm always like, no, don't do anything for me. I don't need anything. And so she was really kind of let down because she wanted to have like a big party and do some big event for Father's Day for me, and I just am not into that. So I told my wife, I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna surprise her tomorrow when she wakes me up and she's like trying to do the big daddy, Father's Day daddy celebration. I'm just gonna tell her, like, you know what I really wanted for Father's Day is what I was really excited about was I just wanted to take you guys to Kids Empire so you guys could play in the play place. Kids Empire is like one of those indoor playgrounds where there's like multiple levels. They got slides and they can climb through ball pits and go on like rappelling lines or whatever. It's like this whole. They used to have a place called Bonkers. I'm sure they have them in your town. It's like a multi-leveled thing that they can climb around in and play in, and she's 6 and she loves this, one of her favorite places to go. And so yesterday morning, that was the big surprise for her. For my Father's Day, I said, I want to take you to this place that I know you love, because I don't give a shit about doing anything else. So we went to the gym. I had a savage workout. I come home, we get dressed, we take the kids to play, and this place is open until 10 o'clock at night. Well, at 9:30, there's like only a couple of families left in there. And they play music over this intercom, which is really annoying, and you try to tune out. And this song comes over the intercom, and it's like turned up at a louder volume, and it's basically a goodbye song. Goodbye, we're so glad you came, but it's time to go. Please go home now. Goodbye, goodbye. Thank you for coming out to play with us. Some like generic, basic good, and it is like the trend is on top of me, I guess, or the MENT combination. I don't know what it is, but this song is loud and it's just nagging you, and it felt abusive. It's like you're open till 10 o'clock. Your doors have to be open until 10 o'clock anyway. There's several families here. It's 9:30. We've paid our money, and now you're beating us to death with this goodbye song. It starts getting under my skin. And so I looked at my wife and I'm like, surely they're not gonna just keep playing this song on repeat for 30 minutes, right? Like, surely they wouldn't do that. So I swear to God, it's like a 5-minute song. So the song ends and it goes silent for a minute, and then music comes back on, and sure enough, they're gonna replay this song again. I fucking snap. But I don't snap. I just stand up from my chair and I look at the kid that's working the counter. I go, hey, how late are you? I'm literally straight from the gym. Okay, so I'm in this place in my fucking Adidas pants and my stringer tank top with all my bulging out. Like, I'm on full display except for this like little stringer tank top. So I stand up in this place and I yell at this kid at the front desk and I'm like, hey, what time do you guys close tonight? He goes, oh, we're open till 10. I go, what's with this goodbye song? And he's like, oh, they just play. I go, you're gonna play this on repeat for the next 30 minutes? And he goes, oh, well, I said, turn it off right now. And he kind of looks at me and he just goes and he turns the music down. He just turns, and the manager comes walking out, and I hear them kind of mumbling at each other, and I can hear him kind of mumble like, he wanted me to turn the music off. And the manager's like this fat Mexican girl, and I can hear her go, what the fuck? And I go, hey, look, if it's a problem, you could just give me my money back and we'll leave early. We paid to be here till 10. I'm not gonna sit here and listen to a fucking goodbye song on repeat for 30 minutes. If that's your policy, that's fine, but you can go ahead and give me my money and I'll leave now. And she just didn't say anything. She went and cleaned the fucking bathroom. So we got the next 30 minutes in silence because I wasn't gonna go for this stupid fucking music just playing on repeat for 30 consecutive minutes. That's insane. I cannot imagine that that's really what their corporate office wants them doing to their customers. But that's just an example of what I'm talking about. It was real low key. I wasn't screaming, yelling at anybody. I just very assertively was like, look, I'm not gonna stand for this. You can fix it or you can give me my money and I'm gonna leave. In a different mood, my wife was just gonna be content to just sit there and ignore it. The other people in the place, they were just gonna sit there and ignore, just getting blasted with this same get the hell out of here before you've gotten your money's worth song on repeat. I wasn't the fucking one. I wasn't going for it. And so it's just a very different, very much more controlled, but still you're not gonna walk on me kind of attitude, which honestly I kind of like. honestly, right now, mentally, I am definitively getting the best of both worlds. You know, I mention this guy all the time. We talk on Discord all the time. Kavalser has said that he felt like MENT is kind of like the middle ground between DECA and Tren. You know, it's more intense than DECA, less intense than Tren. And so far, that seems to be a relatively accurate description. Although, admittedly, I can't know for sure because every time I increase my Tren dose, even if it's only 20 milligrams a week, I feel that come up for the first week or so. So again, the water is very muddy. But there you have it. That's probably, there's a lot of information to convey because I'm feeling very strange. I don't know, again, this lighting is never any good. You can see, try to give you an idea of where my physique is at. I didn't shoot any videos yesterday of what's going on, but my midsection continues to see. I mean, there's really not a lot that you can grab here. It's starting to continuously get thinner, and then usually I carry a lot of weight over here, and I'm not having as much actual fat that I can pin. I usually sub-Q all in this area here, and it's just getting leaner and leaner. And then usually I carry it back here, and this is like the last vestiges back here. My body is just morphing. So I don't know if the calories, and I don't know if the compounds have massively upregulated my metabolism. I don't know if it's a recomp. I don't know if I accidentally got into some kind of deficit due to, I don't know if the estrogen is wrecking my appetite. I don't know what is going on, but I'm just here to report what I'm feeling so far. So, damn, it's a lot. So I'm going to continue running this. The good news is if I went crazy, if I went too far with 15 milligrams and the psychological toll is too much, obviously I can quickly and easily drop back down. So I'm not terribly concerned about that. Obviously, 2 days on 10 milligrams, even of an acetate, I'm nowhere near peak serum concentration. So whatever I'm going to get from this is going to continue it's going to continue to build up over the course of the next 2 weeks. Once we get about a week down the road, we should have a much better picture of what's really going on. So I'm trying to just ignore the scale, trying to eat as much as I can and enjoy the strength and enjoy the aesthetic that I'm having right now, because everything else is kind of in massive upheaval. So I still have not taken any ADEX. I have now pinned MENT 3 days in a row without it. I'm now up to 15 milligrams. I'm hoping that this is the first time in my life where I'm like, do I have gyno yet? Where's the gyno? Is it coming? It's like the first time in life where I'm actually looking forward to feeling my estrogen come up. So, yeah, I mean, if anything of note happens between now and tomorrow, or by tomorrow, then I'll try to make another video. Hopefully this one will go up. If this video is up and part 6 of my homeless series is still not, then you'll know that for some reason my videos are still waiting approval. I don't know what is going on with my channel, but they assured me that I'm in good standing and haven't done anything wrong. So I guess that's at least minorly inspiring, but it's definitely putting a damper on my ability to release content like on the fly. So again, a lot of information to digest. That's what's going on. Open to any comments or suggestions in the comment section as always. And as always, thank you for watching this video. We'll see you on the next one.